Hello everybody and welcome to more Heroes of the Storm action with Road to BlizzCon here on Khaldor TV. 25,000 are on the line as the two teams are trying to battle their way through the second qualifier to get their spot at the Road of BlizzCon final, the European final of course, in Prague. We have currently another best of 3 series up ahead of us. It is BOB going up against ATN Fancy here. Our first map is Tomb of the Spider Queen, and both of the teams that we've heard a lot from already, that played countless tournaments online and had great success, try of course to reach the next round of the tournament. To the Spider Queen, we have a build on the side of BOB where they are trying to use Stitches again. Stitches with stuns also on Uther and Tyrande to go for that sniper composition that we all know and love. And they also use some additional range damage with the Zagara, which is of course great on this map here. At the bot lane she can always solo the lane, make sure that you pressure that back, and later in the game she will also provide additional damage and the ability to section off part of the teams during a team fight with them all. On the other hand, ATN Fancy, they play Khaldor here. They have also Leoric, so a lot of lane pressure on their side too. And with Khaldor and Ezebo, they have very good damage as well. Without further ado, we're going to jump into game number 1 and find out which team takes the lead in the best of 3 series here at the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier. Welcome everybody to game number 1 between BOB and ATN Fancy here at the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier number 2. Game number 1 on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and to the left side of the map we have the, well, mostly Polish team. Well, actually that's not really quite true. Krolo is of course Polish, but we have ATN Fancy, an aggressive team, and they play with Krolo and Malfurion. We have Blumby on Muradin, Crosby on Khaldor, Gluehammer on Leoric, and Darkmog on Ezebo. To the right side of the map we have a Stitches combo in this game, played by BOB. Bakery is using Uther in this game. We have ADRD on Zagara, Snitch on Tyrande for the stuns, Zarmony on Johanna, and Aethero Angel on Stitches. A pretty fun game that we're going to see here, and especially of course since we're having a Stitches in this game, we're going to talk about that a lot. But for now it looks like both of the teams with the aggression in the mid lane are trying to apply some pressure here. Stitches, I really like him a lot here. We've seen BOB already playing the hero a lot of times, and especially on this map here we have Stitches with very good hook spots, especially since of course those two turn-in points are something where you have to move into them eventually, and then Stitches can always land one of those hooks and try to get the stun. And in this case he's the one to get stunned out and rooted down. There's the wall of zombie and an immediate kill against Stitches. That didn't work the way that they thought it would. So yep, good kill against the Aethero Angel. And ADRD is trying to move over. Very aggressive stance here of ATN Fancy once again. What really works with Stitches in the later stage of the game then too, though, is that we have ADRD with the creep tumors thanks to the Zagara. So Zagara on this map is not only amazing because of the solo lane pressure that you have and because of the vision, but it's also just simply cool that you have the vision inside those circles. So it's a setup for Stitches already to know exactly where he has to land the next hook so that he can get then the stun in from Tyrande, Bakery, and they can get their kill. It's of course something that ATN Fancy knows now too, so they have to be a bit careful how they are going to deal with that. They themselves though have also a bit of a stun train here. They have the Gravity Lapse, they have a root on Malfurion, and they have that initiation with Muradin jumping in and using a Stormbolt to lock a target into place to make it a bit easier for Crosby and Malfurion to get their follow-up stuns in. So a pretty cool setup for both of the teams with a lot of potential aggression on both sides. Leoric, a great lane presence. He's very similar in this case to what we see from Zagara. The difference, of course, is that Leoric, as a very tanky hero and also with his Wraith Walk, can always get away much easier than Zagara, who doesn't have an escape. Escaping is also what Aethero Angel is trying to do here, and this time he gets away. Leoric gets locked down, uses the Wraith Walk, but it's too late already. They counter kill here after we saw the initial first blood on the side of ATN Fancy. So pretty lively start into the game. Both of the teams very aggressive. Good stun combo against Khaldor, and the drop. Very well played here. That's exactly what they were waiting for. Snitch with a good follow-up stun after Aethero Angel's hook. At the bot lane, we're looking at ADRD with a lot of pressure against Darkmog. Whoa, that was too close for comfort, my friend. Krolo healing him out in the last second. We have this... Oh, what? Oh, that was very close. I mean, in this case, that stun could have taken down Ezebo, but he was already back. We're seeing the level 4 talents coming into play now for both of the teams, and in the case of Tyrande, it is the Owl that she's using here. So we're having Pierce taken, Great when you want to channel or to like just make sure that opponents cannot turn in their gems. So that's going to be a lot of help. We have for Stitches the sustain build, which is the common build right now. Blizzard changed the level 16 talent for his slam in the past so that he doesn't have that mini stun anymore, which could interrupt all the channel heroic abilities in the game. So now it's not really used all that often anymore. Most of the players are just saying, hey, we're going to go for the sustain build, focusing on fishing hook then on level 16 and try to get those long distance hook in. So up at the top lane, actually, we see currently Zarmany with 22 of his gems. Krolo is there, trying to turn his own in, but a shield glare could always cancel it out. Aethera Angel already in position for another hook. Malfurion, there's Crosby, but yeah, he starts to move in. He could still try and get a hook on Crosby, but it's not going to be easy without that fishing hook talent from such a distance. With a level 4 talent, we do not see Gathering Power on the side of Khaldor. So he expects that against this composition in particular, he's going to die a couple of times, and he goes for Netherwind, which is also going to help him in case that he actually gets hooked. So I kind of like that a lot. Netherwind is a great talent to take on Khaldor. It's just if you really, really need that extra damage with the Gathering Power that you try to go for it. And of course, oh, nice hook again against Crosby. And of course, with the Gathering Power, it also depends a lot on if you have a backline or a front line more so that can help you to stay alive and zone for you. In this case, the stun of Tyrande not hitting because Crosby was absolutely willing to commit to the fight and did not try to rush away. But they go straight for Stitches again, and it looks like Aethera Angel might die here once more, and indeed he does. 2 kills against 2 now. Zarmany moves in, was trying to help out here with a condemn, but he was a bit too late. Level 7 for both of the teams at the same time, and we are seeing now to the bot lane still the pressure of ADRD's Zagara, using that to drop both of those towers low in ammunition. And not only the towers, Darkmog is running out of hit points too, and that's why we have Crosby now rotating over, because this just said, hey, we need to help out Nazebo. He's just no match for Zagara down at the bot lane here. Level 7 talents, there's Gluehammer with a turn in. They're missing 1 gem. 1 gem is all that they miss now to get their first Web Weavers into play. We're having, in this case, Rapid Incubation taken for Zagara. Both of the healers by... oh, there we go again! But Cleanse being used. Well done here. So Krolo gets the Cleanse, and I was just about to mention it. If you have such a comp against you, then Cleanse is a great talent. Malfurion, if he can, wants to go for Enduring Growth and Life Seed on level 7 and level 13. But Cleanse is just too good against these stun chains to really pass up upon. So at the bot lane now, we're still seeing ADRD pushing this back. A very similar picture that we had for the longest time up at the top lane, where Leoric was doing the same thing, using his Lingering Apparition on level 7 and also the Hardened Bones on level 4. Always allows him to get away. No Mule taken. We occasionally see it on the map, but of course, if you're relying on the setup that we're seeing here for Alternate Fancy, then that Git bin is just like way too good. It's the extra damage that you have then in the end for your team that is just totally worth it. So at the bot lane, we're seeing 4 heroes starting to push in together with the Web Weavers, and it is the first Web Weaver set for Alternate Fancy, so they're gonna have a bit of a better position here. ADRD, the only one trying to push them back, but he is going to lose those walls. At the top lane, Zarmany is fighting against Web Weaver number 1. In the mid lane, we're having Snitch now defending against Leoric, since the Web Weaver has already been eliminated, but at least a few more heroes rotate down now to help out ADRD and assist Zagara to not let her, try to defend against this all alone. But a nice chain, and it could be the kill. It's not though. There's Bakery with another wave. Gets the wave of healing in, and therefore the heal against Zagara, keeping her alive. Yeah, up at the mid lane though, it's another tower set that was dropped by Leoric. It's just absolutely amazing how much damage this hero can do in terms of siege damage. Going in with that skeleton swing. The new patch is going to change this a bit. Blizzard has already been talking about it. There's actually a lot of changes in the new PTR patch. Cleanse is going to be weakened a bit, Imposing Presence as well. These talents have been really, really strong, and it's going to be interesting to see how the players are going to adapt their lineups and also their drafts, of course. And the talent builds as well, once that the PTR hits. It's always pretty cool to have that new meta come into play. For now, we have heroic abilities starting up, and that is Tranquility. There's a Phoenix too. We're having the March of the Black King. Most of the players really use that talent now. At the beginning we saw a few entombs, and every now and then you still see it pop up if you have a lot of AoE damage with your team that you can use if you set it up perfectly. But right now we are seeing again March of the Black King together with Gary the Gargantuan, a Blessed Shield, Puritic Bile, so even more stuns now on the side. of Team Bob, and we are seeing them with that Maw on Zagara. Zagara Maw into Entombment Leoric, by the way, was for a couple of games a thing, and that was always quite funny to see that. If you can really lock them down this long and then use Blizzards or Flame Strikes to drop them in hit points, that's super, super good. So we have 2 kills against 2 kills still, but now the Red Web Weavers are descending. On Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's really all about the objective. At least when you are able to get a bit of a lead in the game, usually also the team that will have 2 at a row. Oh, really good hook against Crosby, but there's nobody there to take down the Khaldor. So, well played by Ethereal Angel, at least pressuring them. And at some point it's also just a psychological thing, because you will always see Khaldor in a situation where he's really afraid to be out on the map, because there could always be that hook. So putting the fear into the hearts of the opponent, that's what Ethereal Angel is currently doing. AD moves now in. We have the Web Weavers already being pushed back a little bit when it comes to hit points, thanks to that Phoenix that has been used here. Another hook attempt in the mid lane now. Top lane, by the way, is currently pushing pretty much solo. There's nobody to defend against this. The Zebo is at the bot lane, and we have the stun and Starfall against Alternate Fancy with a kill against Malfurion. No more heals for them, and they're trying to isolate Leoric now, but with the Wraith Walk, he can get away. Bloomby and Leoric are both extremely low, though. And this is just what you have to deal with if you fight into a 4 versus 5. The wall is about to get dropped, and that will put extra experience into the hands of Bob. They have 3 kills against 2 now, but still a very even match that we are seeing here. The top lane, the towers have fallen. Gluehammer is the one to move over there and push them back. He has 31 gems. In total, we have 79 gems on the side of Alternate Fancy, and still 67 for Bob, and that means that they could get another turn in here. Zagara is doing the best that she can to drop additional creep tumors on the map. AD just in general really loves the specialists. He's one of the players that is jumping on Abathur normally. We have him in this case on Zagara. Zarmany with 40 gems gets Divine Shield. Let they go for the Zebo and try to drop him here. Great move actually with that hook that we saw from Ethereal Angel. Has to use the Pudric Bile to cover their retreat. Already Bloomby with his avatar form, and Zagara might be a bit too far out, but the Maw is strong, and the great stun! A double kill against Malfurion and Khaldor, and they are getting a crazy hook in against Gluehammer. They get the level 13 talent, and that was definitely a max range hook on this level at least. Later on with level 16 it's going to be a different matter, but that hook, wow, that was strong. Overflowing Light for Tyrande. 6 kills against 2 now. In total they killed 4 heroes in the last engagement. We're having a Shrink Grey, Mutalisk has been taken for Zagara, additional damage thanks to the Burning Rage for Johanna, and Relentless on the side of Stitches, so stuns are not going to be a big problem for him anymore. And it is indeed the red team with the second turn in. And also another problem, of course, that we see now happening for the blue team, for Alternate Fancy, is that they lost quite a few gems in that last engagement. They are back to 50 now, so they need to be careful about this. Top lane Ford under a lot of pressure, and if you look at the lanes in the minimap, it's actually a split that we're seeing for Bob. They just split their heroes now, but there's level 13 on the side of Alternate Fancy, and immediately a double ice block, a spell shield. Could even see another one on Muradin if he feels that he needs it, and yes, indeed he does. So we are having a flamethrower now taken. All these talents just making sure that once you get hooked, you have some kind of chance at least to survive. And that's really important for them right now. So very passive talents, with the exception of flamethrower for Khaldor, and you kind of have to take that talent. I mean, what else are you going to get? Mid lane is being pressured even more. At the bot lane there's also another Web Weaver alive, but Gluehammer is over here and can use the Skeleton Swing again to drop that Web Weaver here. But the Fort is most likely going to drop, and yep, there it is. Fort gets destroyed, more experience in the hands of Bob. They are starting to take an advantage in the game again. They are a level ahead already, and they are also in a position where they could potentially get another Web Weaver set. They are 10 gems short, and they shouldn't have a big problem getting those. Stuns and hooks, not hitting anybody here, but they're still in a decent spot. Ethereal Angel in particular has a lot of gems for them, and so does of course Johanna. The 2 tanks at the front line are picking up most of them. AD has 17 on his own. We have only 1 fort remaining, 2 forts actually remaining for Team Alternate Fancy, so they were able to keep those alive. The hook against Khaldor, 1 stun, and the second one hits as well. It looks like, oh yep, we see Ethereal Angel trying to close the distance here. Nice engage, good blessed shield used by Johanna there. The kill against Malfurion, the reward for Bob. Wraith walked out of there, but it's another kill against Nazebo. Nazebo down, and I mean, right now they are bringing the pain. The pain train is definitely coming, and it's also dropping a lot of gems that were in the possession of Alternate Fancy. 8 kills against 2. 50 gems that they still have. That is another turn in. They can go for it, and they are also using Johanna to take another camp down at the bot lane at the same time. The level 16 talent that we are about to see for Bob is going to give them an absolutely impressive advantage here over Alternate Fancy. So for Fancy, it's all about defending right now. We have Ranger on the side of Tyrande. That's going to make it so much easier for her to get also some damage in. The fishing hook for Stitches is going to be such a massive threat to that backline, especially to Nazebo and Khaldor, of course. Malfurion too, just to name another one. And he couldn't take any of his healing talents, except of course for heroic ability. We don't see him with Life Seed, we don't see him with Enduring Growth, so his healing numbers are going to be a lot lower than you would want them to be. Johanna even going into the additional self-sustain with the Holy Renewal now taken, and just these talents that we're seeing on 16 coming into play for Bob are so amazing. They're going to give them a huge advantage. No Benediction, by the way. So Uther gave up Benediction over the Hardened Focus, and that is also quite interesting. Basically him saying, well, I'm not losing hit points anyways here. I don't need that burst heal either, because my opponents, they don't have that much burst damage. If I go into Hardened Focus, I have my entire spell arsenal up so much faster, so as long as I use that, I will get more heal into the game than if I would use Benediction right now. Nice adjustment that we're seeing, and we have also now the Web Weavers pushing in, and especially that top lane where we're currently seeing the fort or the keep drop. This is not going to survive, at least it should not. We have the Phoenix zoning them out a bit, but they're just trying to poke from a distance here. There's no level 16 for Alternate Fancy. The hook is long but doesn't hit a thing. And over here again, a bit of zoning thanks to Khaldor. He has no level 16, no Ignite is waiting for his damage, but Bob for now is impressed. They are moving back at least a bit. Still enough mana on the side of Bakery. They can stay in this, and they should. They can drop that one keep here if they want to, but they're just poking, waiting for Stitches to get his hooks in. It's a very cautious play on their side, and I really like it. Again, the potential to go in. They used the Blessed Shield already. Again, the Phoenix for the zoning, but just look at this keep. It is so low. Even if you just throw a hook in against it, or use the maybe like the stun of Tyrande, they should be able to drop this one. Zarmony is again going for an attempt to drop it with the shield glare, and this time he's successful. There was also Zagara with another set of roaches, so the keep at the top lane is down, but level 16 is ready for Team Alternate Fancy. They have their Hardened Focus as well. No Tenacious Roots for Malfurion. There is Stone Form, so Muradin is going to be super tanky here. We have Consume Vitality for Leoric. Also great to have that sustained during the fights now. And with the Leaping Spiders, at least Nazebo has a chance to bring in some damage. Here comes the hook, but nobody to follow up with a stun, and Bloomy just basically jumps out. Malfurion is always spamming that Moonfire, trying to take down the creep tumors. That's of course super important for them, because so far AD Ardia has done a very good job making sure that he has good vision on the map. Now we could see Alternate Fancy with an attempt to really start a comeback here, since they finally have Ignite. They are still 2 levels behind, so they need to take a few of these team fights. That hook is a bit too early, but there's always Snitch. Snitch is always ready. He's saying like, yeah, well, I might lose a cooldown here, but what the hell, it doesn't really matter too much. A nice close quarter, a good setup for the fight for Alternate Fancy, but they are already low as the game starts, or the fight starts, and with the Putrid Bile used by Thero Angel in this narrow corridor, everybody is just like trying to disengage right now. Nice dodge on the stun again, and there's always just the attempt of Snitch to drop that target, but Thero Angel has a bit of a tough time hitting his hooks now. We're seeing Gluehammer and Bloomby going for the camp still, and that's a bit surprising, since they of course are aware that their opponent knows exactly where they are. Oh, AD Ardy is in a very awkward spot, only more scary, and the Divine Shield is maybe keeping Zagara alive for a bit longer. Yes, they get out of there, at least for now, as Bloomby jumps the wall and goes straight for Zagara. There's the Living Bomb, doing a ton of damage. Gluehammer jumps in, goes for the Skeleton Swing, slows her down, and Thero Angel is waiting. The entire team is rotating over. We have still a 5 versus 5 situation. 90 gems, by the way, on the side of Team Alternate Fancy. Another hook that misses. Snitch with good damage against Gluehammer thanks to the Owl. His is Pierce and Ranger Talent working very well together. Great synergy between the two of them. March of the Black King for sustain, but this time Leoric is not gonna make it. And there's a ton of gems now. They just lost 50 gems. 50 gems. Aethero Angel gets healed, and with 50 gems still around, this is of course a disaster for Alternate Fancy. Level 19 versus 17 now. We have on the side of Team Bob 50 gems that they could now turn in. It's not going to give them another Web Weaver wave, but I mean, they are already in a great spot with that keep at the top lane dropped, with them just denying another 15 gems to their opponent. So this is a bit of a disaster that we're currently seeing for Alternate Fancy. They need to win a fight, and need to win it soon, because that level 20 is no joke. Once that level hits and they get the extra talent, Bob is nearly going to be unstoppable. ADRD is trying to make sure that they are maintaining that lead that they have. He goes straight for the camp at the bot lane, takes those siege giants in the mid lane. Then again, we have the fight already starting. Bloomby is there, eats that owl. Krolu as well, by the way, and that is doing serious work by now. Aethero Angel, always with a hook. I mean, for him, basically, the rule is right now, every single time that he has his cooldown ready, he's just waiting for an opportunity to hook. And even if he doesn't hit anybody, he's always making sure that the opponent has to be very wary about the position of Stitches in this. And he could use that again. Kelthas is already trying to dodge in the backline. Bloomby at the front, eating the damage. Level 20 isn't there yet, but it will be soon. And Bob is trying to move in again, and this time they get the hook. Icebook already used, negating that stun in particular, but they go straight for him. There's already the Divine Shield on Uther, keeping him alive, and the healer on the side of Alternate Fancy is down. The Maw is isolating Crosby for a second. Johanna is low, but another hook, this time against Leoric, is dropping the tank quite low here. He actually moves in from behind, maybe the wrong spot to emerge again. Leoric gets focused and dropped, and Zarmany, Aethero Angel, and Bakery are all now with Living Bomb, very low in hit points, but they can still turn this. They are 5 versus 3, and as long as they dodge those flame strikes, they are going to be good. But it's always tricky to go up against an Kelthas if you want to chase. Oh wow, great jump here on the side of Mirrodin, but Kelthas didn't have that opportunity, so he died, and it looks like we're going to see another kill. Yes, it's Nazeebo who's going to fall. ADRD gets healed up again, using the Rakubit incubation of course now as well, and they can easily turn in. And with level 20, they have a great option now to push this in and take another keep. We're seeing them with Redemption, with Bolt of the Storm. There's a Ranger talent, or well, Ranger talent, and with a Rewind, so this is going to be pretty damn good, and Indestructible even taken. And I mean, with all these advantages that we're currently seeing on the side of them, they go up to the boss, they take it now, they will pressure the top lane. I mean, they could actually go for the kill. They don't even have to bother about the mid keep or the bot keep if they don't want to. They could just simply go for kill now. They get the boss, they turn in, they're already moving towards the turn-in spot. And yep, Bloomby expected that, and therefore he's trying to make sure it doesn't happen. But the blue Web Weavers, yes, they are descending. Gluehammer moved down to the bot lane, turned in his own gems. And that was a very smart move on the side of Alternate Fancy. That gives them a bit of relief on the lanes. But it still doesn't ensure that they are going to survive this. We have now Bob moving into the bot lane, as it seems, just creating as much space as they possibly can, with the boss pushing at the top, going straight for the core. They now have all the time in the world that they really need to go for keep number 2, and Tyrande was even putting some pressure on the Web Weaver over here. So yeah, another keep is going to fall. It's only the question of like, what are you going to do? Are you defending against the boss? Are you going to try and defend your keep? No matter what you do, you are basically in a loss-loss situation, and loss is exactly what they're experiencing. Oh my god, like they get Kelthas! They drop him, and it's a 5 versus 4 again. A nice Maw against 2. Can they go for Darkmark? The stun is hitting, but a bit too late. Not that it matters. Malfurion is still focused down way too fast. There's too much damage. Gluehammer is barely surviving thanks to the shield glare, and Bloomby is hooked in once more. Aethero Angel is putting so much pressure on them. Level 19 versus 21. The Web Weavers are still pushing the lanes, and therefore Bob has to move back, but they are an entire 2 level ahead. 2 level ahead, and now of course we're seeing the top lane. Well, it's only pushed back and nothing else. I mean, they're not even scratching that fort. There is still a fort alive. Yes, there is a fort at the top lane, so Alternate Fancy, they need to get that 20, and they need to get it fast, because well, they don't stand a chance in team fights right now. and it's 15 kills against 2. You can always tell that Alternate Fancy is just on the edge of making it happen, of turning the team fight around, but it just doesn't work if you're an entire talent down, and that's why they're working so hard now to get their experience. They always have Gluehammer up at the top lane or on an off lane, trying to get more experience for the team. Even if he ganks or he gets ganked, he can move back. Level 20 is so close for Alternate, and they need it. Without it, they cannot fight. We have 15 kills against 2. We have 54 gems still, by the way. It's an easy turn-in that we're seeing now for Bob, and that might be the nail in the coffin. In the mid lane, a Phoenix trying to deep-push the hard camp, the Bruiser camp that was taken earlier, and here's the level 20 now on the side of Alternate Fancy. So they take the talent. A lot of escapes. The Death March used for the Skeleton King. It's a brutal talent. It's so good to keep you alive. If you, with that last hit, just apply your Drain Hope on everybody, you not only do a lot of damage, but you also keep yourself, of course, alive. And it is absolutely crazy how much hit point regeneration you have with that one. So, for now, we see the mid lane pushed again, but at the bot lane and the top lane, we don't even have a keep anymore. So, these two Web Weavers are going to go straight for core. And over here in the middle, Starfall and Phoenix, both used for zoning. Athero was trying to go for a hook, but only hit the wall, if I wasn't mistaken here. We have him on level 16, yep, with a fishing hook. Sometimes we even saw shish kebab taken in earlier games, in previous games, to hook through a wall or through a structure, and that is a bit of a surprise element that is always very annoying if you are the team that is getting surprised by it. Oh, talking about surprises, Darkmonk jumping away in the last second before the second stun hits, using that Bolt of the Storm, but you can see the core already dropping. Yeah, 50%. This is looking bad, really bad. Game number 1 is potentially going to end now in favor of Bob, and yes, there it is. The kill against the core and the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series for Bob against Alternate Fancy. The Stitches composition that Bob played secures the victory for them. Athero Angel throwing that hook out every single time he had it off cooldown. He didn't hit all of them, but he hit enough, and he always pressured, of course, the backline of the opponent's team. They get their kills in, and Bob takes the 1-0 lead in the best of 3 series. Forcing, of course, Alternate Fancy to take 2 maps in a row now if they really want to move on to the next phase of the tournament, the next round. The gap number 2 is going to be Sky Temple. And in this case, we have a completely different draft on the side of Alternate Fancy. They chose a Zeratul now. They got him through the draft, they get him supported by an Uther who can throw out the Divine Shield, and we also have an Abathur for them that helps them with the added damage. So this is a very, very scary lineup that Alternate Fancy is running there, especially since we're having 2 very squishy heroes in the backline of Team Bob. They are running a Kalthas and a Zagara. Great heroes, a lot of damage, of course a great setup also with more into Flame Strike and Phoenix, but it's 2 heroes that they will probably struggle to keep alive. They have a Rhaegar who will have to do the job here with the Ancestral Healing, and the front line with Johanna and Ethereal is quite strong. If Bob can make it happen, if they can take the series with a 2-0, or if Alternate Fancy comes back into the match and can force out game number 3, that's something that we're going to find out together right now on Sky Temple. Sky Temple is map number 2 in this best of 3 series, and we have Bob in the lead at the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier against Alternate Fancy. This is the tournament that really matters. We have 2 Road to BlizzCon, well, this is the second Road to BlizzCon Qualifier. We even have a third coming up later on, but there's a lot of money on the line, and also, of course, those 2 qualification spots for the European final in Prague. Currently, we're having to the left side of the map, we have Uther, played by Krolo for Alternate Fancy, Blumby on Abathur, Crosby on Vala, Darkmog on Zeratul, and Gluehammer Mirrodin. A very heavy build that is just like really focused on Zeratul with most of the heroes. So the right side, it is Bob with AD Arya on Zagara, Snitch on Kelthas, Zarmany on Johanna, Bakery on Rhaegar, and Athero Angel playing Tyrael here. So all the BOB Bakers, I'm still drifting away into that old name that they had at one point because it has the same abbreviation, but of course they are only called Team Bob. So in this case, my apologies. It was actually kind of fun when they were talking about the team names. I was making a bit of fun about that team name, and then at some point I had Bakery in TeamSpeak and was talking to him and interviewing him on channel live, and was asking him, so, well, who exactly came up with that weirdo nickname for your team? And he just like baffled replied, well, you did. And I'm just like, what? So apparently at some point when we had also those silly team names come into play, like Shishirishi from the Polish team, I said the team should just simply call themselves BOB, and when they formed their team, they took my advice, called themselves BOB, and yeah, therefore it's my own fault that they have now that name, but yeah, that's how things go, I suppose. Looked pretty silly when I actually like talked to him, and I was just like, okay, that was a bit of a self-ponage point right there. Either way, we have the second game now coming up, and oh, Zeratul. Yeah, well, buddy, against that gravity lapse, he gets assistance from Abathur with a quick shield. But yeah, he has, of course, to be quite careful here. If he moves out in the early stages, Zeratul is still a little bit squishy. Well, he's squishy throughout the match, but especially in the early game, he also doesn't really have that damage potential that he will have later on. For now, we are seeing him with Seasoned Marksman on level 1, and that is just that extra damage with the auto attack that you take. So it's always amazing to just see Zeratul going for that. If you have an Abathur to support you with the additional speed on your attacks, that's amazing. And there we go in again. Darkmork this time is taking that kill. Well played. Bakery actually is getting blown away from that Guardian up at the top temple. We're having a switch between temples. Temple in the mid lane is currently actually captured also by Alternate Fancy. They get a few of the shots in. So Gluehammer together with Abathur is doing a decent job against ADRD. Darkmork is moving in. Uh-oh, Zagara. Oh, wow. Great start here for Alternate Fancy into the game. We're having them now with Adrenal Overlord after Pressurized Glance with the Abathur build. They're getting the temple up at the top, and currently BOB is really feeling the pressure here. This is not going the way that they were hoping for. Especially since, of course, now a lot of those shots were also stolen away by Alternate. They are way ahead in experience. I mean, we're talking level 5 versus level 4 here. It's something that you can definitely bridge, but in the mid lane, again, shots in favor of Team Alternate Fancy. And this is looking much, much better than the last game for them, at least this early in the game. The next temple phase is, of course, going to be crucial, but one of the reasons why they are ahead in experience is this bad boy down in the bot lane. Abathur is just doing his thing, soaking experience with his body while he's helping out with the symbiote up at the top. And therefore, we're having over here, again, Snitch and Bakery trying to push them back, but it's an entire level that they are behind. One entire level. 3 minutes in. And that's a lot. They need a couple of kills. Oh no, and they're losing another one. That's 3 kills against 0. This is definitely not the way to come back into this. Level 4, also Manticore now used for Crosby. That is actually a very nice hybrid build again that he can now use to later on maybe go into a Searing attack style. He can even decide to just jump into Giant Killer, which he most likely is not going to do. But even with Manticore and Searing attack alone, you're doing so much auto attack damage that you have very good synergy between your talents. So that's something that he can go for now on level 7, and they're going to hit that level any second now, which is going to give them even more control over the map. And map control is everything at this point. Going for camps, trying to maybe steal the Siege Giant camp away of the opponent. There's a Searing attack talent that I've just mentioned, so this is going to be very strong for him. And Abathur went into the Mule, which is a great tool to have on this map. Zagara taken out again. Wow, Zagara is the punching bag right now of Team Alternate Fancy. They jump in every single time to drop her, and easily at that, especially with Zeratul really putting in the works. Alternate Fancy, they are very strong with their Zeratul. They've been showing this in the past a lot, and they're currently doing this again. So right now, we're having at the top lane Bakery with his heals. Snitch is in dire need of some help. I mean, the only thing that you can really do on the side of Snitch is try to use that Gravity Lapse once that Zeratul appears, but that's your only defense that you have. Up to the point where, of course, hit level 20 and you have your Bolt of the Storm, but still. So gathering power hasn't really been too useful for him yet, since they didn't take down a hero in this game. The next temple is announced, and we are seeing, again, the Bruiser camp moving over. Good timing here to capture this one out. But over to the right side, we're seeing the exact same play on the side of BOB. Blumby with Abathur is going to try and soak experience here, but he has to make sure that everybody is away, that all of the heroes are moving down to the bot lane, because if not, then he might be in trouble, and if you lose Abathur, that's quite annoying. Abathur is soaking that experience, is helping out with the symbiote. They're jumping in, and they try to go against Gluehammer. The dwarf jumping away, Condemn pulls him in again. Crosby is there, tries to get some damage in with Vala, at least in the last second. There's Gluehammer, and he should be able to reach the well, and he does. Moves in, experience soak up at the top is still going strong for Abathur, and down here the temple has been taken by Bakery. Now they're going straight for those shots against the wall. That might be the experience that they need to come back into this. Again, the pressure against Zagara. She is about to be dropped, but he has the attempted kill against Gluehammer, they are all so low. Alternate Fancy is so low. A last second vault by Crosby, and the only thing that they can do now is accept that they lost the temple at the bot lane, try to soak experience, maybe in the middle as well, as Abathur is still continuing the job up at the top, and is putting a ton of work in now at that fort. The damage, dishing it out, and he could even kill it. I mean, he could even take it down. If he uses a symbiote there, he could definitely take it down. Talking about symbiotes and about taking things down, Gluehammer down to the bot lane apparently wants to get at least a few of the shots. It's a dwarf on a mission, like, he is very much alone. I'm not 100% certain what he's going to try and do here. He gets healed, I can't believe it. Like, it looked like he would die for sure. Level 10 is super close now for Alternate Fancy, and they will have that in a second. The fort up at the top lane is, at least for now, still surviving. Snitch was helping out there, but the last few shots on the temples end up in the hands of Bob regardless. Level 10 is now ready. And we have Monty. Monty as the talent on level 10 for Abathur. The Monstrosity has been picked here. It's super cool when you take that level 20 for the Monstrosity. Fnatic actually loves to do that. A lot of teams will still rather go into Hive Mind on 20 for Abathur than use it. But still, we're going to find out later on maybe what's going to be. Athero Angel is pressured. And to the bot lane, we have Zarmany with the attempt to drop the fort. Abathur, of course, is doing the exact same thing up at the top lane. Strafe used on Vala, so Vala doesn't really go for a Rancor build, and therefore she doesn't have to go into her Reign of Vengeance, but is using Strafe instead. Over here, stun attempt already. Here comes Zarmany. Darkmok is in play as well. Sanctification on Tyrael has been taken. Ancestral Healing. We have the Maw, and they're going straight for the kill. Sanctification has been used. Gluehammer was trying to go in and stun him out, and did so in the end. What a blink! The Divine Shield! Uther sacrificing himself to keep Darkmok alive. Wow, what a hero. Uther sacrifices himself. Darkmok still alive. He could have used the Divine Shield on himself, but instead he keeps Zeratul alive here. Great play by Uther, but oh my god, it looked like Zeratul would go down for sure. Top lane pressure still thanks to Blumby. So we have, in this case now, level 11 versus 11. Both of the teams are just simply aiming for more experience. And especially when it comes to the side of Alternate Fancy, that Monstrosity is going to be a pain to deal with in the later stage of the game. Monty is currently being saved by Abathur, at least he's trying to. Well, he's not going to save it in the end, but he's of course buying a lot of time here for the rest of the team. They're currently fighting for the spot at the bot lane. Of course, at some point he has to jump out of it, but then he can move in at the bot lane with another symbiote, and that's what we're seeing here. Yep, that camp is taken, and the kill! Oh, nearly a kill against Gluehammer, but he gets away. The problem is that Uther doesn't, or does he? Heals himself, but it's a bit too late. So he gets pulled in again and dies. 2 kills versus 4. Still elite. And Abathur. Look at that. Blumby at the top lane is just saying, like, this temple is mine. At least soaking a few of the shots. Very well played here. Just dodging the damage and rushing away here on his slug. Slug alert at the top. And to the bot lane, we currently see none of that. So we could actually see Abathur, yeah, moving down to the bot lane. And as I say, it is doing exactly that. So he is soaking more experience for his team, as we have Johanna taking over up at the top lane. Zarmany now for Bob is getting a few of those temple shots. Shots fired, quite literally, in this case, of course, against the fort. Keep that mule in mind that we are seeing for Abathur, so he will be using that throughout the game, and he has actually been using it quite a lot already. At the top lane, though, it's now an entire force that moves in, an entire army, an army of 3, actually 4 with Tyrael considered as well. Everybody of them is up at the top lane, and they make sure that this fort is dropping, because they know full well that if they don't take it out completely, it's just going to be repaired again. The level 13 talents for both of the teams in this case. Basically what you would expect. A bit of extra damage on Johanna, I guess we should at least mention that. We are also seeing now the Imposing Will taken for Tyrael, so a pretty cool talent for him to have too. And Frost Shot, which combos off so well with the composite arrows on level 1 for Vala. So control during those fights, having the range and that slow talent. And a great move by Bob again into the mid lane. Abathur won't be able to heal anything here. And talking about Abathur, he has at this point the Soma Transference also taken. We're seeing Muradin not with a Spell Shield or Burning Rage, instead it's Thunderstrike that he takes here. And with especially Abathur at the top lane, he's once again using Monty, using his Monstrosity to push these lanes in. Just waiting around a little bit, still with the Symbiote hat here. He's going to release it at some point and then it's going to push in the lane. At the bot lane, we still have the boss in play, and actually no vision, no creep tumors here. So far I have to also give some credit really to Alternate Fancy. They've been doing a great job taking those creep tumors down. Whenever they see them, they use a few of their abilities to take them on, and therefore no vision in this case for Bob at the boss. The bot lane pushed by Muradin. 2 kills against 4 in the game still, and both of the teams doing their best to just keep the pressure up. We have also Ethereal Angel moving over to the top again. They would love to take down that Abathur at some point, but they have no idea where exactly he is. There is Monty taken on by 2. Ethereal Angel and Zarmany are going to try to take the monstrosity down. But we have a fight in the middle. A good Maw saving the retreat for ADRD. And Monstrosity was moving in for this one, but it also created a lot of space for Muradin. And Muradin pushed in the bot lane. He has, of course, to escape here now, and he will rush away. This shouldn't do too much damage, but it's going to soak some tower ammunition, and the Siege Giants, I suppose, could do a bit of damage here. And it seems like they're trying to rush the boss in this case. They're simply moving towards the boss and are saying, well, as long as they are busy defending against our Siege Giants, we can take the boss over here. A ballsy call, but it's a call that could work out. Will it, though? Tyrael, what a stun! What a stun! The plays! Muradin stuns Tyrael as he tries to jump in on his Eldruin's Might. They get boss, and still Zeratul alive. Wow, loving it. Gluehammer and Krolo with the stuns here. Great play by them. They're probably going to lose Muradin here, but what the heck? I mean, does it really matter? Yes, of course it does, but still, I love it. It was awesome. We had at the bot lane now the boss pushing in. That creates even more space, and that's pretty cool since we're now having another temple activated in another few seconds. So that should be a temple in favor of Alternate Fancy. But that was great. They saw Tyrael, they knew he would jump in. Everybody else was so close, and at this point they're just saying, as long as we stun him in time, it's going to be fine. Yeah, well, Vala with her strafe, but Zarmany using the condemn against her. The 16 talents are now in play for both of them. We have Holy Ground taken. The attack in the mid lane. Muradin is not ready yet. And another attempted kill. Crosby! Oh! No! Crosby goes down and Crowley just stands there watching. He can't do anything about it. The temple ends up in the hands of Bob. Bob ahead in experience now. Again! We are seeing them with Ignite. They have Brood Expansion. There's the Holy Renewal, the Tidal Waves, and Holy Ground. And Abathur, he's still trying to push with his Monstrosity at the bot lane. Monty for the win, that's what they're thinking right now. We could actually turn around and put some damage on Snitch. The Monstrosity at that point is doing work, and you can really see how Snitch is starting to lose his hit points here as well. So he's moving in and goes straight for it. Bakery dropping out for now. In this game. I guess he's going to be back in a second again. Currently, yep, okay, we have him back to business. Bakery had a bit of a lag there, so we rejoined the game. And now with both of the teams on level 16, we even see Given the Axe taken. That Abathur composition with Muradin. We haven't seen it a lot, but it is one of those things that you can use. You have, of course, that slow, thanks to the envenomed spikes on Abathur. And if Abathur really has Muradin and then moves in, Muradin moves in with that Given the Axe, he can do so much damage. Of course, you give up an amazing talent with Sustain, since you do not have access to Stone Fountain anymore. But we also have now the Frost Shot for Vala, and that, of course, delivers additional slow, which basically guarantees Muradin to get his extra damage in every single time, and that is a significant amount of damage that you have there on their side. So we have both of the teams still. There's still no keep down, right? I mean, we are 14 minutes in, we have 4 kills against 4 kills. Ignite, of course, is going to be super annoying now for Alternate Fancy to deal with. And this game can still end either way. Krolo and the rest of the team, they're trying to drop the fort in the mid lane. Yes, Bob still has a fort in the mid lane, so they haven't lost this just yet. And when it comes to structures, they are ahead. They're also ahead in experience, of course. At the bot lane now, we're seeing Darkmok still pressuring this back. So I'm really loving the way that they're currently rushing through the map here. And keep in mind that he has actually his Seasoned Marksman. He's currently at 27 extra damage, thanks to Seasoned Marksman. So just over time, he's going to get even stronger with it. So 26 stacks here. Double Temple now, 14 minutes into the game activated. Zeratul is still waiting for an opportunity to maybe drop somebody. Both of the teams aim for the Bruiser Camp. To the left side we have a triple attack, and to the right side the same thing. Timing it again with those shrines, with those temples, super important here. And as the Monstrosity is moving in, if Khaldor shows himself right now, yep, there's Darkmok, and Abathur was there too. Khaldor's Snitch, he seems to know that something's up. He knows that something is up, but Darkmog is still looking for him, and he finds him. Darkmog finds him, and immediately Abathar is helping him out, and goodbye Kel'Thas. Great kill here by Darkmog. Now they can move back. They pressure the bot lane with Monty the Monstrosity. They have a 5 versus 4 on the map, level 19 versus 19, and they're going for those shrines. And of course, Zeratul is now also in those fights. At this point, Bob has to make a choice. Do we give up the shrines? Do we try to fight for them? If they do, they will not be able to stop the Monstrosity at the bot lane. They send AD Ardy in to take care of it. Specialist against specialist if you so want. But now with the fort gone in the mid lane, it's already the keeps that are getting attacked here by those two temples. Gluehammer is soaking the last few shots, at least he's trying to do that. We have Crosby and Darkmog starting to move over there. Slow already. Holy ground used, but the singularity spike hits home, and up to the top we see Crollo now currently just like soaking the last few hits here as well. Level 20 talents are going to be in play very soon. A bit faster actually even for Alternate Fancy, so they were able to take a slight leading experience again. We have Vala with the extra damage, and thanks to the level 4 Manticore and level 7 Searing Arrows or Searing Attacks, she will do so much damage now with Nexus Frenzy. It's really crazy. No upgrade for Monty, by the way. We have Hive Mind, as suggested earlier, now taken for them. And Redemption plus a double rewind. Whoa, strong talents here for Alternate Fancy. Very strong talents. Down here, Snitch was pressured by Darkmog. Oh, but the stun! And Zeratul is dead, a bit too far out. And now level 20 is ready for Bob. And they might go for boss. In a 5 versus 4, they might try and take it. Double Bolt of the Storm for them, indestructible. We have Rewind on Rhaegar and a Hardened Shield for Tyrael. So at this point, boss is taken. To the left, we have that Siege Giant camp also attacked now, and they're going in for it. They really want to contest this now. They're going in for the stun. Gluehammer already with a Piercing Bolt, throwing that in, taking 2 stuns in, and now Vala in the backline with damage, and even more damage. Can they really go for it though? Crosby is super low already, gets a shield. Gluehammer jumps away, and they won't be able to get the boss. This is bad news for Alternate. At the top lane, Abathar is still pushing this one in. They could theoretically also use another Monstrosity in just a bit. They have it up again, but down to the bot lane, this is where we are currently seeing the boss pushing, and this is also where we see most of the heroes on the side of Bob. They want to make sure that they are getting a kill on the keep now, and that's an important one. We have 2 seconds on Zeratul, and then he's going to be back to business. He could be able to help them out with his own, with his own Void Prison. Keep in mind that that mule is still there. Dropped a bit prematurely, to be honest with you, and that's why it's already dead, so that mule is not going to do anything. Double Temple is up, but over to the right side, it's the Monstrosity pushing in against the keep. The similar situation down here at the bot lane. Oh, already Void Prison and more use, but the kill against the Gara! That Sanctification came in a bit too late. They're going straight for Kel'Thas, and this is a second kill for Alternate Fancy. Great moves here by them, and they might even be able to wipe out the opponent's team. They go for a kill against Tyrael, and Johanna is so far down, so deep, that she's not gonna make it. Crollo keeps himself alive, God knows how. I can't believe that he is still surviving this, and Johanna dying, of course. It's a quad kill. The boss is going through the keep, but he will be eliminated by the core, and to the top lane, the Monstrosity is still doing work. This is going to mean keep, and they are moving over now. We have still Bloomby up at the top. He could even try and soak a few of those shots at the temple. It looks like they're going for kill. They're going for the kill on the core. They're moving immediately. They're not even bothering with those 2 temples. They're not even trying to take anything else. They just go straight for the core. Is this going to be possible for them? They took down Rhaegar too, and it looks like there's just no way for Team Bob to really win this one. They have Zagara coming back in 4 seconds, but that core is already down to 50%. Great comeback here on the side of Alternate Fancy. They take game number 2 in the best of 3 series here at the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier, and therefore tie the series up, and we're going to see a 3rd map between these 2 teams. Zeratul a bit too strong here for Bob. Alternate Fancy, they tie the series up. We have a 1-1 now, and we go the full distance. Into the final map now, which is Dragonshire. Once again, we see Zagara on the side of Bob. They are using Zagara this time with a Jaina. They got Jaina through the draft here, so not the Fire Mage, but they get into the Ice Mage here for Blizzard, for Cone of Cold, and this is of course also going to be that setup again that we've talking about in the last few maps, where you have a Maw, you try to use it, section off a few heroes during winning a team fight, but you can also use that as setup for that Blizzard and that Cone of Cold on Jaina. It's a double warrior setup that we're also seeing, of course, for BOB here. They run at the front line now in a Nubarak and a Tyrael, so a lot of pressure that they can put on opponents' heroes, jumping in with the potential Judgment and then also with the Burrow Charge on a Nubarak. So like a lot of things that they can do here, even with the Web Blast and a more sectioning of a lot of heroes in those team fights and focusing on the remaining one or two that they can then target down and then take it from there. But we also, of course, have Alternate Fancy now, the last chance in the tournament here for them. And they run that Khaldor. They run him together with the Vala. They have Leoric, which is a great hero on this map in particular. Which team is going to take it? Only one of the teams can advance through the tournament bracket right now. It's the second qualifier for Road on BlizzCon. A lot is on the line here, and let's find out which team is going to be able to decide the best of 3 series in their favor. Game number 3 on Dragonshire, the final map at the Road to BlizzCon qualifier for BOB and Alternate Fancy. One of these teams is going to drop out of the second qualifier, and one of them will advance to the round of 32. We have to the left side of the map against Alternate Fancy, we have Krolu on Rhaegar, Blumby on Muradin, Crosby on Khaldor, and Gluehammer on Leoric, whereas Darkmok jumped onto a second damage dealer. In this case, it is Vala. To the right side of the map, though, we're having their opponent, BOB with Zarmany on Anubarak, Snitch on Jaina, ADRD on Zagara, Bakery on Uther, and Ethereal Angel on Tyrael. The last game didn't go too well for BOB. On Sky Temple, especially that Zeratul gave them a lot of trouble, which is one of the reasons why they banned him out here. We have now for both of the teams double tanks, and in the mid lane it's a big brawl already. Whoa, they're not wasting any time, going straight for a potential kill, but it looks like both of the teams will get out of this without even losing a single hero. Regarding the talent choices, we have Regeneration Master taken on level 1 for not only Anubarak but also for Tyrael. And we are seeing again that build on Darkmok that we saw in the last game. Well, it's actually a different player that is using Vala now, but in the end it's the same build, at least so far, going for the composite arrows on level 1, and we could potentially then see that Manticore taken for the next talent. Zarmany with a stun, but he's a bit too late on this one. Up to the top lane. Oh, Zagara again being attacked. ADRD hates his life right now. He is the one that gets attacked every single time. Gluehammer even getting away there, but Rhaegar at the bot lane is taken out as well, so it's at least a kill for a kill that they get here. At the top lane, though, there's nobody to soak the experience, and that's a bit of an issue for BOB at this point. We have the Colossal Totem taken for Rhaegar. Blumby actually jumping over the edge here. At the top lane now, we have a lot of pressure against the first tower. That was, of course, something that they got thanks to the move there earlier. Ethereal Angel soaking experience until ADRD is back. His Harmony and Ethereal Angel are now starting to rotate again, potentially for a kill into the mid lane here. And well, the shrines are up now. So with that, we're seeing the top one taken by Crosby. Gluehammer is there, so they have a 2-for-1. That Gravity Lapse just barely missed ADR. There could have been a potential second kill against him. Zagara has to be oh so careful here. I mean, she's a great hero in terms of sectioning off heroes later on in those team fights with Maw and also getting the damage in with the Hunter Killer. But it's just so annoying that you don't have an escape, and ADRD is still going to be the priority target for all of the ganks that we're seeing coming from Alternate Fancy. One of the teams will prevail, the other one is going to drop out. Alternate Fancy, of course, they have reached like a lot of late rounds in the tournaments already. BOB is one of the newer teams that we have in the scene, but these players have been around for a long time and they play extremely well together. They have been playing in the Gozo Gamers tournament, in the qualifiers, won several of those actually, and in general they are just a really solid force to be reckoned with. So right now we have in the mid lane a lot of pressure. Bot lane and top lane are exchanging shrines now. We're seeing again the extra survivability with the Heart and Bones on level 4. No real surprises here when it comes to the talents. I guess we should mention that Arcane Intellect is currently the choice for Jaina. It was at some point the standard talent, but now most of the Jaina players are starting to move towards Snowstorm instead. Oh, talking about Jaina, she's in trouble. Snitch is trying to get out of here, but is dropped. So is Khaldor, though. Both of the mages dead now, and Ethereal Angel is moving in the middle of things because he wants to make sure that Blumby is not going to get away here. But the cooldown is ready for the Dwarf Toss, and he is just jumping out in the last second. So we have Arsenal taken on level 4 on the side of Vala, so not going into that potential build that we've seen in the game on Sky Temple, whereas Vala used not only Searing Attack, but then also went straight into Manticore on level 4. The teams are currently looking on level 6 here. It's 2 kills versus 2, and especially Vala has to get away here. Bloomby is just dancing around Zarmany, and Crosby moves in, but Zarmany waits out until the gravity lapse is there. But at the top lane, there's a bit more action happening. Gluehammer taken out. It's not going to be too sad about this. It's a slightly inexperienced though for Bob. And guys, everything is on the line for these two teams in the qualifier. We don't have a loser bracket yet. Later on in the round of 8, there will be a loser bracket where the two teams have another chance if they lose one of their series. But in this case, that is not happening. If you lose here, then you are out. And both of them have been playing incredible games. The two maps that we've seen before were super close. And at this point, both of them, of course, want to make sure that they are the ones prevailing here and advancing through the bracket and possibly qualifying for the European final for the road to BlizzCon in Prague. We already have Na'Vi and Rocket qualified, of course, two teams that were able to get through the first qualifier. AD at the top lane with Gluehammer still fighting over that shrine, and so far it was mostly Leoric that was able to capture it. We have Krolu and Dark Morg now in the mid lane, and especially Krolu, of course, with his lightning shield, needs to make sure that all of these creep tumors that Zagara is spreading around the map are taken out. He has the best option for them to get rid of them. Everything else is just like draining too much mana from heroes that need it for the fights. Zarmany and Bloomby at the bot lane. Bloomby gets stunned once, gets stunned twice, gets attacked, then jumps away, but here comes the follow-up stun and the kill against Muradin. Very well played. That is going to give them a shrine, and it's also going to take some experience potentially away from Team Alternate Fancy. But Krolu rotates over. You have to keep a heartbeat in. You have to make sure that you have a hero on each lane to soak the experience, and that's what they're doing. It's 4 kills against 2, and of course Krolu and Rhaegar cannot really do anything against this pressure that we're seeing now. So Bakery, Zarmany and Snitch take the opportunity to drop the wall, drop the 2 towers, get ahead in experience again. Leeching Scarabs, by the way, also for Zarmany, who went for Legion of Beetles on level 4, so a lot of survivability for him and extra life leech. Snitch is starting to go in with the Cone of Cold, go straight for Bloomby with a bit of extra damage, but even with Ethereal Angel they are not really willing to take this fight now. We have Bloomby still going for that shrine though, but at the top lane it's the Garba. No Dragon Knight yet. We are 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the game and no Dragon Knight in this match so far. 4 kills against 2, but no objective has been captured. On both sides, a cleanse has been taken by the healers, so they're going to make sure that the stun trains are not going to hit too hard. Bot lane with Zarmany capturing the temple now, and that, or the shrine, and this is going to possibly deliver the first Dragon Knight in the game. And the zoning has started, and Ethereal Angel gets it before Bloomby moves in. Dragon Knight number 1 and level 10 also dropping, and that is a massive advantage that Bob has now. Web Blast, Divine Shield, Judgment, they can go deep with these skills. They have Water Elemental for the lockdown, and in the mid lane they are pushing everybody back right now. Really well done here so far by them, using that advantage that they have. At the bot lane, it's Zarmany on his Anubarak, getting more experience for the team. Alternate Fancy is going to hit level 10 in a second now as well, but that Dragon Knight is still a threat. Down to 35% hit points, and they are moving straight through the lanes now, putting the pressure in, potentially taking down the well here, which would of course make it very difficult for Alternate Fancy to hold that lane in the long run. But they have their 10s now. They have Ancestral Healing, Avatar, Phoenix, March of the Black King of course for Leoric, and you would have guessed it, we have in the case of Vala against Strafe used. AD very much alone at the top now. He could use that to push in those towers. Ethereal Angel is still in the Dragon statue, but only for another second. And now there he goes. We could see them jumping in, but there's nobody to really follow up the potential stun. Since Ethereal Angel can use the Judgment, you can use that on a hero like Darkmog, and then you just rush in with Zarmany, trying to isolate the healer with a Web Blast, so there's no cleanse, no ancestral healing. Then you go in for the stun. Potential Epicenter on level 16. We see that occasionally for the added stun area when he uses his Burrow Charge. That's actually pretty cool. Top lane, still that battle between Leoric and ADRD Zagara. 4 kills against 2 still, but now of course it is that lead in experience for Team Bob. And they are moving in with another potential drop against, maybe, yes, they get Leoric. More experience for them. Leoric is down, Bloomby already in Avatar form. But it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to turn this around and take another target down. 5 kills against 2, and so far things are looking pretty good for Bob. But of course, with only a 1 level lead, there's always the chance of Alternate winning a team fight and then turning things around. One bad move by Bob, and it is turning around, and there is already an attempt to stun somebody out, and they are going for Zarmani, or at least they were thinking about it, but there's just not enough CC. They know that they do not have the CC that they need to take down someone like an Uburak, so they just move back for now and let it go. The 13 talent is going to drop another advantage into the hands of Bob, and they could also still take that Bruiser camp to the right side. There's another Bruiser camp to the left side, by the way, that is about to be taken. Level 13 talents now, and that means that we're having finally also the Ice Block on Jaina. Weber Blast into Spell Shield if you're going up against the Khaldor. That is one of the talents that we expect. It's actually kind of curious to see that we're having Uther not going for Spell Shield against Khaldor, but instead he opts for Shrink Ray, which is awesome if you use it against a hero like Mirrodin once that he jumps in. There's a few teams that have been starting to use Mirrodin very aggressively, like keep one of the tanks behind to protect the squishies, protect the damage dealers, and then Mirrodin jumps in and tries to apply pressure to the opponent's backline so that they can't get the damage in, or at least not controlled in one of those fights. And namely, Fnatic has been doing that quite a bit, especially at WCA. But for now, we're having Mirrodin in this case. No, with the 13 talent, it's going to take that in a second, and let's see what they're going to go for. A couple of spell shields could be used by them too, since they're up against a Jaina. Bot lane, by the way, pressured hard, a 4-man rotation of Alternate Fancy. Now they get their level 13s. Here comes Bakery, they want to take this fight even with the 13s. Leoric already on a spell shield. We're having no talent taken for Mirrodin. Spell shield is an option, and he takes it. Goes for the spell shield, feral lunge for Rhaegar, no healing surge here for him. And it is a flamethrower talent on the side of Khaldor, so we're seeing this now as well. Gluehammer moves into the top once more. It's just this battle. Both of the heroes have not really participated in the fights too much because they are more concerned about the experience. And it's really nice to see a counterpart to Leoric. I mean, that playstyle has been very popular, especially with teams like Na'Vi, and Zagara is a pretty good counter to that, at least for now. Heal against Blumby. Krolo wants to be super safe here. That ancestral healing was maybe a bit too early, but then again, Zarmani missed his stun, and that could of course then drop Blumby, as right now at the top lane Zagara is being dropped. Again targeted down here, but Rhaegar at the bot lane, so they're just like jumping from one kill to another. Mirrodin attacked again, 1 stun, 2 stuns, they're trying to lock him down, and they're gonna get this kill as well. It is 7 kills against 3. We're seeing now 6, yeah, well, another fort is going to be dropped, and it's an exchange. At the top lane, Gluehammer, Crosby and Darkmorg are going to take down a fort on the side of Bob. So an exchange in experience, an exchange in forts, but there's siege giant camps that he can clean up too, and that's what happens at the left side of the map, where Zagara is going to be the one hero to make sure that Gluehammer is not going to get too confident here, so at least pushes him back a bit and actually drops him off the horse, and therefore he's going to have to mount up again and loses a bit more time for his rotation. Level 16 talents. It's the entire game, Bob has just been 1 step ahead. It's a tiny step, but it's a step. They get now on level 16 the Numbing Blast. They are using the Brood Expansion, Benediction. Leoric gets dropped up at the top, so they jump in for him. At the bot lane, on the other hand, Krolu is gonna try and go for Zarmani here, so trying to get a kill in against him. He moves away. We're having the Shrine taken up at the top lane here, down to the bottom, even the Strafe used on the side of Darkmorg. They're jumping in, Cleanse used, no though, and the Web Blast. They want to get these kills, and they're going straight for them. Already the Phoenix for the zoning. Bob has to move through it, and they do the kill against Rhaegar. He tried to heal himself, but it was already a bit too late. Gluehammer is moving away with the Wraith Walk, but now we could see another Dragonite in favor of Bob. They rotate over, Snitch is there, they need to zone for him. Crosby uses a quick Flame Strike, but they do not have the level 16 talent, and Snitch just claims it. He claims the Dragonite, and that is Dragonite number 2 for them, so they are going to move straight through the mid lane. At the bot lane, there is a Thero Angel. He's probably even thinking about using, well, he has 30 seconds cooldown currently on his Judgment. If not for that, they would probably try and use it again to get another pick now with the Dragonite, but it's still a 5 versus 4. A good Phoenix for zoning, but they're still lingering around. They're still making sure that they're going to get this wall. The fort is already gone. Level 16 talents are going to be there any second now, and that will drop Ignite into the hands of Khaldor. A so important talent at this point. But so far, they don't have it. Strafe used again just in the last second, and there are the 16s now. Earth Grasp Totem, the lockdown thanks to Rhaegar. No tidal wave, no healing surge. That is going to diminish the healing powers of the hero by a lot, but he will have a lot more control and damage for his team in these fights. Zagara gets Divine Shielded here, moving away. Muradin, there's the Web Blast. Actually, a disengaged Web Blast in this case. And yeah, more has also been used, but they are just moving away, at least for now. Consume Vitality on level 16 now, with the Blood for Vala, and of course the Ignite. Strong talents for both of the teams, very strong talents here, but still a 2-level lead, or nearly a 2-level lead that we're seeing for BOB. And BOB is of course in a great position with this one. They will hit that level 20 sooner, but at this point for the next 2 levels it's still eye level basically. When it comes to talents, it's going to be eye level, so they can fight now. Alternate Fancy, that is. If they make a comeback, it's probably going to happen here. Then after level 20, of course, it's a different matter. For now, what BOB really should do is just try and play it safe, try and reach level 20, not overextend, and make sure that they hit 20, and then with the 20 talent, get another Dragon Knight, try to go again for a keep, and drop that. The problem really is that if you don't capitalize on your advantages in the earlier stages of the game, once both teams are on level 20, everything that you are trying to accomplish before that doesn't really matter anymore. Kills won't matter anymore, it's all about the team fights then. And that's exactly what we're seeing here as now as well. Web Blast used. We have also more. They're trying to go for a kill against Kel'Thas. He's low from behind. There's Zagara pushing him back, but the Ancestral Healing keeping him alive. Ethereal Angel goes deep, and they try to get the kill here. Crosby is down, and Darkwalk might now die too. Ethereal Angel will have his cooldown ready in a second. Leoric is dropped now, and they go for Ethereal Angel, but he is gonna jump away, and this is bad news for Alternate. They're about to lose Muradin too. Blumby's trying to get away. They're not gonna let him escape. I don't think this is gonna happen. There is the kill against Rhaegar, and they want to go for Blumby. Here's Zarmany. Zarmany still has the mana. He still has the hit points. They're going for Darkmook, who was able to heal up a bit more. Again, has one stun. Bakery with a second one, but they turn around. They get the easy kills against the structures. They have now also that hard camp pushing in, that bruiser camp, that Alternate Fancy was trying to steal away in the first place. This is how all of this started, by Alternate Fancy moving towards the right side, trying to steal the camp away, but we saw BOB rotate fast enough to prevent it, and now they are close to level 20, level 19 and a bit. I mean, a few more waves, 2 more waves, and they are going to hit 20, and they are also going to get another Dragon Knight. And this is when they really have to use that advantage to drop forts and drop keeps. Exactly what I said before. Kill those keeps. Kill them while you can. They go for the Dragon Knight statue. They need to get it now, and then they need to use it to drop these keeps, because once that Alternate Fancy is on level 20, they are going to fight these fights with exactly the same talents, and then it is anybody's game to take. So you need to establish that lead early, and that means taking down structures, trying to demolish the keeps, make sure that these waves are always pushing against your opponent, and they should be able to do that with a double blink now. Finally, Zagara has an escape. ADRD is going to have, well, he probably like celebrated a little bit, just dancing, jumping on his chair, dancing around to his PC for a second before sitting back down, because his team of course needs him. We have them at the bot lane. They're trying to pressure this one in. They have the 20 talents, and they have the Dragon Knight. Everything that they need. Even another camp here. Phoenix is already out, and Ethereal Angel is putting in the pressure right now. 800 damage per hit with that Battle Axe. 12 kills against 3. They will get a keep. Will they get more? That's the question. They could try and go for a second one, but this keep should definitely fall. But Ethereal Angel is already out of the Dragon Knight. They can go in. They need to use Snitch maybe with another Blizzard if they really want to drop the key, but nope, he's not needed for this one. They already have everyone else up at the front line to make sure that enough damage is delivered to the structure to take it down. So the bot lane is going to push now hard against Alternate Fancy. And ideally, BOB would try to do the same thing in the mid lane. Here comes the Judgment, and they're moving in, but Cleanse saves Vala for now. Phoenix already used the Shrink Ray against Troll, who also gets Web Blasted. They drop against Vala. The Maw not hitting anything, but zoning them out. Great kill against Vala, and with a kill like this, they might be able to secure a second one. Yeah, Crollo is dropping, and that's a 5 versus 3 situation with BOB moving in for keep kill number 2. Can they get more? They're trying to go for Kel'Thas. If they drop him, they do. They might be able to go for core instead, but they are playing it safe and sound. They have Bakery extremely low. They are turning for keep and want to make sure that they have now the second lane pushing in. Level 21 versus level 18, a 3-level lead. The keep is about to fall. Bakery is healing himself, and they are not able to drop him. Gluehammer was trying to rush away, but it's the kill against Leoric. 16 kills against 3, but Bakery is so low, has to heal himself, and with the healer running out of hit points and mana, they are just deciding to move away for now and not try and core it. Zarmany was out of mana as well, so was Zagara. No need to risk it. They know that the shrines are going to be back up again, and if Bob is playing this smart, then they should be able to get another Dragonite, and that Dragonite 18-19 minutes in should be able to drop the core if they push that in together. We have so many kills for them already, and they have a very good shot at reaching the next round of the Road to BlizzCon Qualifier. BlizzCon, these teams have been playing, some of them for a year, and all they want to do is play at BlizzCon, hit that so important tournament that Blizzard provides, and this is one of the stepping stones. This is one of the obstacles, one of the milestones that you have to accomplish. Go through the qualifier, qualify for the European final in Prague, and then take one of those spots. That Dragonite is there. They are jumping in, stunning out Vala. The heal is too late. The heal is too late. And Krolu, is he going to survive? No, he's not. It's a double kill, and now they go for core. There is nothing to stop them. Absolutely nothing. They go for Crosby, a triple kill. The Web Blast, Muradin. Oh, tiny Muradin shrunk away. The Dwarf shrunken. And now they go for the core. This is going to be game, ladies and gentlemen. Bob takes down ATN Fancy. GG, well played, used here. And this is going to be the 2-1 victory in the round of 64 here for Bob against ATN Fancy. Congratulations, really well played. Great match here on Dragonshire. And Bob advances to the round of 32. A great play here by Bob. They take the win, and therefore they decide the series in their favor. A 2-1 victory over ATN Fancy puts them right into the round of 32. Very well played here. And of course we're going to follow their way through the bracket in the future, but this was already a very good performance that we saw here today. A bit unfortunate for ATN Fancy, but congratulations to Bob. A great showing once more. Guys, if you like the series, then make sure that give the video an upvote on YouTube. It was actually a pleasure casting the games for you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'm going to see you next time with more Road to BlizzCon here on Khaldor TV. Would be great if you guys would tune in for that again. And of course, if you don't want to miss the action, make sure that you hit that sub button. See you soon with more Heroes of the Storm here on the channel, and have a great day. Bye bye.